G'day legends, we're back and we got some big news to cover today. What we're going to be talking about is Jamahal Hill's upcoming fight at UFC 303. There have been some changes to that. Also, there's going to be a little bit of channel news. We'll get through that really quick and then we'll break down Jamahal Hill's next fight at UFC 303. So, we're back from yesterday's video, which was a little bit different. I'm happy you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out because it's getting some damn good reactions down in the comment sections, unlike my Conor McGregor video for 303. So if you're interested, check that out. Straight away off the bat, so we don't have to stop the video halfway through, I'm doing a big push to 1,000 subs. So if you do find yourself enjoying this video, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It will help me out so much. I want to get there before the middle of July. It's my birthday in July, boys. And the last bit of channel news is there is no UFC this weekend, as I'm sure you are devastated about. But don't bloody worry, boys, because me and Bad Math MMA are going to be doing a joint live stream when the UFC is usually on down at the Apex. If you want to know what time it's going to be on in your local region of the world, it should be on the screen of one of these two corners, depending on which way I have my camera orientated. But the time zones are either here or here. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, first of all, I'm sure you are all aware that Jamahal Hill was set up to be fighting Khalil Rountree as the co-main event of UFC 303 in June on the Conor McGregor card. Until Khalil Rountree pissed hot or popped hot or whatever he did, he was using an illegal substance, okay, from his custom-made supplement company. Now, as far as the punishment for Khalil Rountree, it seems like that he has gone ahead and done the right thing and he's gone straight to the UFC or the UFC's new drug testing body. I can't remember what it's called right now. I think it's called like the Sports Drugs Free Association. You know the hubbub about it that was made at the start of the year. He's gone straight to them and they have passed on a 2-month suspension for Khalil Rountree, which I think is pretty fair, okay? So he did do something wrong. He took an illegal substance, but he didn't do it on purpose. And the whole point of this new team was that they were going to be more understanding towards the fighters and they were going to treat things on a more case-by-case basis. I wish I had time to go and pull up the initial interview they did with the UFC when they first came over. But the whole reason was USADA was just too stringent with the rules and wouldn't wobble on anything. And this new team that's looking after the UFC's drug testing are meant to be a little bit more understanding and understand if something, what am I saying? Meant to understand if something wasn't done on purpose. And it does seem that this was the supplement company's fault that Khalil hired that made the mistake, not Khalil himself. However, I will say, in the words of the GOAT, Robert Whittaker, why don't you just not take the risk and take the same old shelf supplements that the rest of us take? Just use the ones that we all use, and that way you're not going to get in trouble, okay? You are a professional athlete that is getting drug tested. Why choose to mix and match? Maybe he did a blood test and he was looking for something that matched his hormone levels perfectly. Who knows? But also, there's the other thing that's going on with the supplements that he was on, the brand that they listed. Khalil Rountree said that the supplement that he took or the drug that he popped for wasn't performance enhancing. But I want to do a shout out to the boys over at MMA Experts, okay? Because they did a great job breaking down exactly what Khalil took. And it looks like it does have an effect on your testosterone levels. It helps manage either estrogen and testosterone. It helps manage those hormone levels. Especially with testosterone, it keeps them nice and high, and athletes all over the world have been using this. And if you truly believe that testosterone doesn't play a part in your ability to perform well in combat sports, then you're kind of dumb. I have some magic water to sell you. It heals cancer. It helps you sleep really well, and you piss gold as well when you drink this magic water. Just DM me, just hit me up in the DMs. I'm going to sell you some magic water, right? If you believe that testosterone doesn't help you in combat sports, I got some supplements that I want to sell you. Trust me, you're never going to taste anything. It'll bring Jesus back, boys. It'll bring Jesus back. Anyway, that's where we last left off the story of UFC 303, right? And it was a bit up the creek, okay? Because nothing else was happening on that card except for Conor McGregor coming back to fight Michael Chandler, right? You look down the rest of the card, there's no fights on there, right? You go to ESPN.com, you click on UFC 303, it's just Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, and there's nothing underneath it. The card is empty. I'm kidding. There were other fights. They're just not that interesting. They're not enough to sell a pay-per-view, okay? There are some people that do not understand sarcasm out there, right? So it needed a solid co-main event. And now we have an absolute giga chat Carlos Ulberg stepping up to fight Jamahal Hill. And is it just me, or does this seem like a little bit more fun, right? This Carlos Ulberg matchup seems a little bit more fun than the Khalil Rountree. It's not like he's new to the UFC, right? Carlos has been here. He did the Contender Series in 2020. He's been here since 2001. I think he's had like 7 fights in the UFC, won 6 of them, right? And there's almost this like level of uncertainty here. I think it's because it's such a big step up. Like, we've seen him in the UFC for a couple of years, but he's not even ranked at the moment, I'm pretty sure. And now he is going to be stepping up against somebody who should be ranked number 2 or number 3 in the division. This is early in the morning here. I haven't gone and checked all my stats, but someone ranked 2 or 3 in the division. I mean, he is a former champion. He just fought for a title. This is massive. This is one of those things that makes the UFC so great, that just last minute changes to the roster can happen because everyone's contracts are already sorted out, right? And this is what makes it so good. Now, the UFC, so many athletes to call. They could have called Yuri to ask if he wanted to step up and fight in short notice, but he is too busy meditating out in the forest somewhere. He doesn't even have his bloody phone on him. He hasn't even taken any food with him. He's gone full monk mode. I suggested they could have called Anthony Smith, but he said, he's got to break this fight down on paper first before he takes this, right? He's got to really analyze this for a couple of months before he can think about a yes or a no. Carlos Ulberg was just hanging out in the mountains of Rohan, waiting to get this phone call. And he bloody took it, man. And now we've got this, I think, really exciting matchup for UFC 303. I think this has improved it, and this is a better co-main event, okay? But this is massive for Jamahal Hill. Let's not forget how Jamahal Hill became a champion in the first place. He did it by beating the living piss out of Glover Teixeira. But Glover Teixeira was at a very, very old age. He was at the very, very end of his career, right? Jamahal Hill was ranked 7th and then got this huge step up last minute to fight a very old Glover Teixeira. But then he got absolutely embarrassed by Alex Pereira. If Jamahal Hill gets knocked out, it's almost like we're fraud checking a champion, or at least a former champion. I don't think we've ever fraud checked a champion before in the UFC. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, Jamahal Hill's entire legacy is on the line here. He could either have one of those classic UFC moments where he screams into the camera, there's levels to this shit, or the internet is going to talk about how he never deserved to be there in the first place. That is a lot of pressure for an athlete to handle when they're walking into the ring, right? Now, let's look at the X's and the O's of the fight, because I think this is going to be a sick stand-up kickboxing match. Chad Hero, the subscriber out there, you're going to bloody love this one, mate. There is a chance, of course, that Carlos Ulberg can get clipped again and knocked out, like when he did against Kennedy Nzechukwu, right? I mean, any time that can happen. Jamahal Hill can certainly do that. But honestly, I think there is a real danger here for Jamahal Hill. A real danger here. Look, Carlos Ulberg, CKB, they love to be pretty kickboxers. And Jamahal Hill falls directly into that game of the CKB kickboxing crew. I know that last time we talked about Carlos Ulberg in my pre-fight predictions, right? We said that, CKB, I said to you, we talked about together, CKB fighters, you just have to pressure them forward. And the bloke, I can't remember his name, but the bloke that fought Carlos Ulberg just rushed at him, like he took my words way too seriously, rushed at him. What I mean is good, clean, forward boxing pressure. Imagine a Jack Della Maddalena marching forward at a CKB guy. They piece them up. Because they like a lot of room on the outside to play. And Jamahal Hill, there's a scary chance that he is going to fall into the CKB trap. The worst thing that you can do with them is stand at range and try and out kickbox them. And I think that is exactly what Jamahal Hill is going to do. Jamahal Hill has got a massive ego, and it's been hurt ever since that Alex Pereira loss. I think he's going to try and prove to everybody that there are levels to this shit, that he is the cleaner kickboxer, and that by out kickboxing Carlos Ulberg and putting on a impressive performance, that he has the recipe to go and fight Alex Pereira again. And that's how he's going to weasel his way back, not weasel his way in, but earn his way back to a title shot. That's what I think Jamahal Hill is looking for here. If I have to make a prediction for this fight, and I will, because I'm an MMA channel, I think Jamahal Hill is going to play on the outside with Carlos Ulberg. It's going to be a pretty kickboxing match for the first round and a half, and then somewhere towards the end of round 2, Jamahal Hill is going to be getting pieced up. There's going to be too much pressure, and it is going to be a standing TKO victory for Carlos Ulberg against the fence in round 2, UFC 303 co-main event. Video's done, week is done. I hope you all had a great week. I want to see you guys live on Saturday or Sunday for the live stream. Check us out there. If you haven't caught up on yesterday's video, it's a bloody banger, mate. So go check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I appreciate every single one. All of us smaller channels appreciate every single subscriber. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. And have a great weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.